Okay, so this is an entirely different design than I had planned, because obviously there's our Sakura, Japanese cherry blossoms. So they're symbolic of samurai culture. I just thought it was kind of a cool fit. It also worked well with the inlay dots I have here, because I could just draw flowers around what's there and then cut around it. And I did them kind of off-center to try to go for more of an organic effect, much like what was in that picture. I mixed black and brown epoxy to get the root color, or I'm sorry, the branch color. And then I used a white epoxy for the flower, and then I filled red in the center to give like that center bloom. There are cherry blossoms that are entirely pink, but there are some that are white and red, and it matched the artwork that was on the pickguard better, I thought, so went with white and red, and I think it worked out pretty well. Kind of, the red was sort of a pinkish hue anyway, but it did the best with what I had. If it would have been super bright red, I think it would have been too much anyway, so I kind of like the look that it came up with. Because the white and the red is very symbolic of the, well, I should say it's very close to the Japanese flag in the background of the samurai. So I could have went with any other variations of color, but anyway, here I'm just drawing with a number 2 pencil, obviously a mechanical pencil, onto the fretboard directly, and then just getting an idea of the layout design. And the number 2 pencil is consistently the same size, so it's easier to use for something like this. I usually use drawing pencils when I'm sketching, but because mechanical pencils can kind of dig into paper or whatever your surface is and kind of scar it up, and so if you go to erase it, you can't really get to erase those indentations. So I usually like to use a lighter sketch pencil, but this was light enough and the wood's hard enough that it didn't do all that. So after I'm done doing the basic layout, I trace it with a micron. I want to say it's a 0.5 millimeter micron, which, if you don't know, microns are used extensively in manga or comic art. They are, not that it matters, but they're light fast, and they do a really good job of holding their color over time, is basically what that means. And then they stay black for a while, and they tend not to smudge. And so once I drew them on here, and this board was originally treated with linseed, so they stayed on top of the linseed fine, well enough for me to, and they also don't bleed, which was nice. They didn't bleed into the wood. And then so yeah, just working some of the details, stepping back, looking at it, making sure I like it. It's the same thing I do when I draw everything. It's sort of like a measure twice kind of situation. Just, it's easier to re-sketch it 100 times over and than it is to have to fill in something you cut you didn't like with, wood glue and dust from wood dust from the board. So I try to take my time with this part, the planing stage. But again, I do have my reference that I drew digitally. I just took a picture of my guitar and mocked it up. Like I said, I did it digitally so I could see what it looks like, see if I liked the idea. And then I came out here and I I sketched it something as close as, so just closely resembling what I have on the paper. Now drawing these on the bottom is really tricky because they're so small, the difference between the frets. I did want to try to do it without removing the frets actually, but I realized that wouldn't work because I'm gonna have to radius the board, so off they came. There's more to come. If you like this, like, comment, share, subscribe. Checking it with the level, make sure everything's good. I want to make sure that it's level so that when I fill it with the epoxy, it's self-leveling technically. So I don't want it to drip all over the place, be uneven one side or the other. Try to use as little epoxy as possible, having as little to sand back as possible. And I'm just testing with the little Dremel tool there. Thank you for watching.